Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Fan Behavior and F1 Podcast. I'm Zoe, back with Hannah.
Hi.
No race this weekend.
Which honestly, thank God.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
We do have a double header next week, but then we have a break. You know, then it sounds like we hate this sport.
It's just fatiguing.
It's just a lot of emotional energy.
Yeah,
that is exerted.
We were just talking about this before we started. We've got a lot going on work-wise. Like, we're at max capacity right now, and that's okay. And so to have a break from a weekend of activity, even though we watch it from our homes on our couch or in our bed, it's nice.
It's nice. It's nice to just, for me especially, you don't have to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning or whatever time to watch all these different things. You can sleep in a little bit more, and also just the brain capacity that's required when you also have a podcast. You want to be able to talk about it and not say dumb stuff. You want to. I don't want to come on here and spew incorrect facts.
Right, of course.
So you got to be.
I'm less concerned about that.
I know
because I always qualify it with, I don't know if this is true.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying.
You do a great job. But anyway, we haven't done a fun, like, quote unquote fun episode in a while. And because it's an off week, and because honestly, not a lot going on in the world of Formula One this week. No silly season news. Carlos Sainz yet to still hasn't made a decision. Unclear about Checo's future. Things to come. So we figured we should do something fun. And we had done it. Was it last season that we did the green flag? I think it was.
Yeah, the bed sheet was still here, so it was a while ago.
So for those who maybe weren't around, we did an episode last season, F1 drivers green flags, and it was, I think, at the end of last year, it was our most listened to episode.
Yeah.
Where people know a green flag is a positive quality attribute about a person. Sure. Maybe it typically comes up in dating. Why you'd want to date this person? Obviously, red flags. Yeah. Negative. We're not going to do a whole episode on. I mean, we could maybe behind a paywall.
Yeah.
F1 drivers.
Certainly not publicly.
Red flags, but yeah, we're not going to go. But I'm sure many people know of beige flags. Now, I will read the definition of a beige flag for those who maybe are unclear or uncertain about what that is. So, a beige flag is an odd or quirky characteristic, but not one that is innately good or bad. So something that is just interesting about a person that maybe in the future could be a red flag. It could turn into a red flag. Maybe it could turn into a green flag. It's just
maybe it could turn into an ick.
Exactly. It could turn into an ick. It's just something that makes you go, huh. Exactly.
And again, it's the perception of it is who decides if it's good, bad, or neutral, really.
Or beige, right, yeah. Exactly. So we're going to go through every single F1 driver, and we are going to share what we believe are each F1 driver's beige flags. Now, again, it is a little bit tricky to delineate. I feel like for both of us, some of these may be on the fringe of a potential red flag.
Sure.
It could be something, it's not a perfect science, okay? So just remember that.
Yeah.
Would love for everyone to share if you have certain drivers' beige flags in your mind. Let us know. Write them in the comments on YouTube. Would love to see what you guys come up with because I'm sure you guys have thought of interesting ones.
Yeah.
I wish I should have come up with like examples of what a beige flag is. Okay, I actually did see one on social media that I'm remembering, which is like one girl said that her boyfriend's beige flag was that when he sets an alarm, he sets his alarm for like 7:37.
Oh,
or
I do that.
8:52, and it's never on a whole number. I guess I don't know if that's
well, I know it's not like it's not like on the hour.
Yes,
or
on the hour, like on it. Yeah, exactly. And she was like, that's just a little bit strange.
Yeah.
So something like that, not bad or good, just interesting. Anything else to add?
I had a really hard time coming up with beige flags. So while I know that we are going to have a fantastic dialogue and it's going to be funny and I'm going to have a great time and you're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
I just want to, let everyone know that mine might be terrible, and that's okay.
It's okay.
We're here to be vulnerable.
We're here to have fun, and we're just going to enjoy it. And just, I hope you guys enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
We have our trusty. Nothing, Bella, did it?
I don't think so.
Okay. Our trusty hat where we pick names for our draft. I'm going to use it right now to pick names, and that way we can go in a random order while we share these beige flags. So
I also really quick, because I was doing some research to try and get a feel for some other beige flags.
Yeah.
And I came across the clip of our green flags episode, and we both basically said that Fernando's green flag is that he knows he has lots of red flags, and that was yours, and mine was that his green flag is that he knows he's toxic. And I just got a real chuckle from that. So anyway, proceed.
Fernando. All right. The first driver we'll be discussing is Alex Albon.
Nice.
All right.
I'm gonna need you to go first.
Okay. So my first beige flag, I actually don't know if I have. Okay, I have two. Okay. The first one that I put down was that he has a lot of pets.
Yes.
And I think there are people out there who love pets and are like, more the merrier.
Yeah.
I think there's other people who feel like if you don't have pets, it's kind of strange.
Right.
I do think it is interesting when someone chooses to have a lot of pets, and he really leans into the pet theme of his life.
He launched a merch collection.
Exactly.
Around the pets.
So to me, that is a beige flag.
Yeah.
The other one that I said was that he tried to have red hair once.
Yeah, he did.
And
and not my red.
No, red, like
Ferrari red.
Like Kool-Aid red.
Yeah.
Like he dunked his head in a batch of Kool-Aid and pulled it out, and there it was. And I actually believe, was it Coda 2022 where he had the red hair?
Yeah.
And that was just an interesting choice.
Yeah.
He did then go blonde, which was a much better move for him, and honestly, he should bring it back.
I agree. Bleach blonde Albon is
excellent.
Yeah.
So those are my beige flags for Mr. Albon.
Okay, so mine, and I'm not going to lie to you, I did find this one on the internet, and it felt very similar to myself. Is that he does this in all of his pictures.
He loves a piece.
I literally don't know what to do in photos, and so I do this.
Have you ever thought about changing it up?
Sign.
Like
I don't know how.
Hang loose.
No. There is the one photo because my friend Maggie used to do hang loose in pictures all the time. And when we went to the One Direction concert, Harry Styles did it back to her, which was incredible. So then when we met Five Sauce and she wasn't there, I threw it up so that she was there in so that's on my Instagram. But no, that's just not natural for me. I'm definitely a piece.
I mean, I do piece too.
I know.
When we celebrated our 2-year podcast birthday and I wanted to do consecutive piece, like because we were holding up a number 2, it was very easy to find lots of photos of you and I both throwing up the peace sign. So I mean, I don't believe he's a millennial. I think he is Gen Z technically. Maybe he might be like right on the cusp, but that's a very millennial move.
I mean, at least we're not doing the duck face anymore. I mean, sometimes for funsies, but exactly. Do you remember this? I had a lot of those. Like, why do we think that was cute?
If you're not watching on YouTube, you
should be.
You're missing the
part. Like, so horrifying that we used to do that. That's all I did. And then I was like, oh, you can just smile in pictures. And so then I started doing that.
The worst was when, did you ever have braces?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, because the worst was when, I actually didn't really care about smiling with my braces, but I felt like a lot of people tried to not smile when they had their braces. So that's why they would do those weird faces. It's because they're like, well, I don't have to show my teeth.
Yeah. And then there was the, like, let's hold the camera all the way up here.
Which we still basically do with 0.5 zoom.
Yeah. But 0.5 zoom is cool.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
It all comes back around.
So true.
Okay. Next driver in our bag of tricks.
Hat of tricks.
Joe.
Trick. Oh, nice.
You start this one.
I can't. I don't really have one. I mean, so this is what's hard. It's not a quirk of him. I literally wrote, where is he? I feel like I don't know him. He feels like a social media influencer for Sauber.
Yeah. Okay. Do
you know what I mean?
That. Yes. I said that his beige flag is that he is too nice for a very rich man. He seems to be
that's a green flag
some
cuss
could say,
for sure.
Yes, a green flag cuss. But he seems, I don't know him personally, very, very nice and sweet for a man that has lots and lots and lots of money. And you could argue it's to his detriment, perhaps, because he is not,
Does he let people take advantage of him?
Does he not bring it as much as he should on the track? Because, as we said, he's unproblematic. He doesn't do anything wrong. Right. Maybe he needs to get his nose in there a little bit more and
get some toxicity lessons from Fernando.
Exactly. That's why Fernando's 2-time world champion. Right. I think every world champion is a little toxic.
Yeah, but I don't think Joe has it in him.
I don't
from
think
what
he does
we've
either.
seen.
I don't think he does either. And
I do love him though.
That's the question around one could say Charles Leclerc has some toxic energy, but But that's the I think every great champion needs to have a little bit of a fuck you energy.
A chip on his shoulder.
Exactly.
Joe has no chips.
Joe has only the gambling chips,
Yeah.
which he can afford
Trillions
many
of.
if he wants.
Mm.
So that's all I had.
Okay, yeah.
It's very, I mean,
Because he's so unproblematic, he has no beige flags. I
Exactly.
mean, it was hard to.
exactly.
Lots of green flags. Haven't found a red one. So
All right. Next one. Ho, speaking of the king, Fernando.
oh, nice.
All right.
Did I have some? Oh yeah. So my first one is that he really leaned into the Taylor Swift.
Literally,
rumor.
I had
Really?
that too. I said pretends to have dated Taylor Swift.
Yeah, which is like, of course, why not? Like, because if it's something so ridiculous, you don't need to make a public statement,
Right.
And so yeah, lean into the bit. And then I also just like his social media personality. I can see why it could be an ick to somebody, but it's also just like sort of endearing.
Well, I said is good at TikTok. It's
yeah.
a little. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
For a man of his age.
Yeah.
To be so into making TikToks and trends and the diving into the Taylor Swift thing. You could look at it from a number of different angles.
Mm-hmm.
To some, hilarious, funny, great. Others,
Clout chaser.
cautious.
But like he has clout.
Question mark?
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
it did put him into like the sphere of an audience that never
I mean,
knew
it
he
got him in
existed.
page 6.
Yeah, so true.
So
Which in fairness, he probably should have been there a long time ago. If
For
he hadn't
what?
been, I don't know, being Fernando.
I know, but I mean, I don't think very many. It is always funny whenever I see like Pierre Gasly or I feel like Charlotte Leclerc on Just Jared.
The Just
like, in
Jared
Just
features are so crazy.
on the
I'm
beach
like,
or
well, you don't-
something.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, it just of course they are famous,
Yeah,
but it just
how does Jared know you?
yeah, so strange. So those are the only two that I had for
Yeah.
Fernando.
I'd also be curious, like, I'm always curious to know, like, how much of the TikTok is Jimmy and how much of it, like, does Fernando come up with?
I don't think Fernando's coming up. I think
Yeah.
it's more of just the fact that he is so down
Down.
to do all of them. I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about it, what other F1 driver is really down to make TikToks?
Valtteri and Joe.
That's yeah, that's
But
very
that's,
true.
you know, they've got nothing. They've got to. They need some joy.
That's all because they have nothing to show for on the
yeah,
track.
and Joe's not going to say no because, as we discussed, he's too nice. And Valtteri just loves a bit.
Yes,
So,
he's willing to oblige.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Fernando, for the laughs.
Yeah.
Lance Stroll, his teammate.
Um,
This is tough because there's a lot. I don't want to say there are a lot of red flags, not necessarily red flags. There are things that could be perceived as red flags. The fact that his dad is a billionaire and owns an F1 team and whatever, all those things that I'm not saying that they are red flags. I just think they could potentially be red flags. I said that he willingly went mountain biking before preseason testing.
yeah.
You know, interesting.
Yeah.
Quirky, some may say.
He sounded so much like your mom just
A little strange.
Yeah.
Like, why did you choose
Curious
to do
choice.
that?
Yeah, peculiar for sure.
Curious choice.
Yeah, I just said like sometimes his like the facial expressions when he's being photographed is giving like I don't he's so interesting when he's being photographed because there's times where you're just like, where did you come from?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
there's times that you're just like, why do you look like you're gonna kill everyone behind the lens? I don't really think that's a beige flag, but it's just like I don't know what he's thinking. I don't, you know what I mean?
I think
It's like-
maybe his beige flag is that he's just here's a beige flag that he is kind of the opposite of Fernando in that he doesn't ever want to be on
Yeah.
social media again,
unless he's dressed like Tim Riggins.
Some could say that's a green flag
Yeah.
because he doesn't want to. He's not the center of attention.
Sure.
But I think it could also go back to his unwillingness to participate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is he a team player? Question mark.
Question mark. I don't know if this is a beige flag. Red. I'm not even sure.
Yellow.
But I'm thinking about when in Drive to Survive when after he injured his wrist and was coming back and they were all standing kind of around before. I don't know if it was like the driver parade or something. And Lando asked Lance if he could wank yet. And Lance said that he was, quote, saving his energy for the track. Again, who's to blame in that situation? Who's at fault?
Lando.
Lance, but
Lando.
Lance's response was a little bit like he couldn't play along with the bit, you know? I just leave that for you all to decide, to make your own assumptions.
I didn't like that.
I thought it was funny from Lando.
Well, it was funny from Lando, but
Lance wasn't the right person to make that joke with.
I know. Did he think he was being serious? Like, do you think? I kind of remember that. I just remember laughing at Lando, but was that a genuine answer from Lance? Like he was answering it seriously?
No, I think he was trying to make a joke.
Oh, okay.
And not be, crude, I suppose. But
Lando already did that.
I know.
So just continue. Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, let us know your beige flags for Lance, because he very much like Joe in a sense is sort of hard to unpack. For some of these people, it is so obvious what their beige flags
totally.
are. And people I love.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very clear.
Yeah.
And other people, I'm just like, you're a little bit more mysterious.
Yeah.
So therefore,
an enigma,
wrapped in a riddle.
Maybe I literally don't.
And cat.
I was like, I don't know.
That is a niche reference.
Yeah.
If anyone knows what that's from. Speaking of a man that is very easy to spot the beige flags, Daniel Ricciardo. Should I start this one?
Sure.
Okay. So the first thing I said was, pretends to be a cowboy.
Yeah, I put
is
Texas
obsessed
forever
with Texas.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's curious. It's great.
It's all the things. The coming in on the horse, the facial hair, the cowboy hats, the belt buckles,
the accent,
which is the
not
shoes.
great.
Where else? Well, what else do we? I mean,
you really captured it.
All of it.
The barbecue,
which it's maybe not so much a Texas thing, but he just really is locked in for Texas. Now
the trucks.
Now it's less. It would for me personally. I want to reiterate. For me personally, it would be a red flag if he was American.
Totally.
But because he's not American, it's more of like a kid going to Disney World.
Yeah, it's quirky.
It's quirky.
Yeah, it's like Disney adults, which we know and love Disney adults. But it is
I kind
quirky.
of am one in some ways. It's very interesting. But as we know, I'm on board for a lot of it, and
yes, you are.
I
see, and this is again the perspective, because to some, ick,
exactly.
Red flag.
Yes,
to you, not an ick.
Exactly.
No icks in sight, as you say.
I also wrote down that he has a clothing line named after a French word that he likes, or his favorite French word. That's interesting.
No, it is a good name for
it works.
It works. Yeah, I guess it's the name it is.
But it's simply because that was his favorite French word and he just thought it sounded cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the pricing is interesting as well.
That's more of a red flag.
Someone say quirky.
I also wrote down, he barks.
Yeah.
Quirky.
Certainly quirky.
All the noises he makes.
Yeah.
Kiki A. Yeah. Just any general sound. And then I also wrote, is in love with Josh Allen.
True.
Quirky.
Yeah. Especially because, go Bills.
We're not Bills fans, right?
No. But I have respect for the Bills.
Yeah. He just loves Josh Allen. And Josh Allen loves him. And
which is sweet.
Obviously that's nice. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Amazing.
Happy they have.
What's that from?
That great French. You just made it up. You said it one time some way, and then it just stuck.
Got it.
Your beige flag for Daniel.
I just said Texas forever.
Oh, okay.
It just felt like it really.
I mean, that's the biggest one.
Yeah.
That is the most clear cut beige flag of them all.
Yeah.
Is his love of Texas, because he doesn't have that same love. I guess he did love. He enjoyed Vegas, but it didn't. He wasn't
the same.
He wasn't dressing up as Elvis walking.
Yeah, no.
Thank God.
Yeah, that would have been weird.
That would have been bad.
And I also think just his faux arrogant kind of that persona, especially on Drive to Survive, is interesting.
Yes,
because
he is very much. I think he maybe of all. It'd be an interesting question. He's, I think, the most you're either in or you're out.
Yes.
And I think there's some people who are I like Daniel, but he's not my favorite. But I feel like you either really enjoy him and buy into it and or you just don't.
That guy's annoying and I don't want to deal with him.
Yes, which I can definitely understand.
Yeah.
Don't relate, but understand.
Exactly. And that's what we're very good at.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah. Did you know that Max is my favorite driver?
Speaking of,
really? Wow.
Max Verstappen, Hannah's
I do have a
favorite
few.
F1 driver.
So, he is often in the exact same outfit.
It's definitely beige. It goes into Elizabeth Holmes, Steve Jobs territory.
Yep.
Definitely a beige flag.
I am focused. I need to wear my Red Bull shirt. maybe a Red Bull jacket if it's chilly. I've got my skinny jeans that aren't so skinny, but they're maybe a little too skinny.
They can be very skinny.
And my fitness tennis shoes.
Or his khaki shorts.
True.
Or khaki pants at times, but not so much khaki pants. It's either jeans or khaki shorts.
Yeah, and the khaki shorts bother me a lot less than the pants.
Yes.
And then the flat bills.
Yeah, those
which we've moved away from.
But that was once a time, and it was not a good time.
Yeah. I also I'm worried about the consumption of Red Bull.
Yes.
Like, I recognize the branding and I get it.
He drinks a lot of it.
I'm worried about that. And then sometimes I've wondered if he just puts water in it and
what is that ingredient that's in Red Bull that everyone says is not good for you? There's some particular ingredient that I feel like it's something that makes your heart race really fast or something. That's
caffeine.
It's not caffeine, but
I don't know.
Anyway,
and then I think just his racing is life.
Yes,
sim racing, all the racing.
Right. I said obsessed with the sim. His love and obsession with sim and being online racing. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's not a red flag necessarily because speaking to we understand the life of someone who's obsessed with something and just goes all in,
It's just interesting that the hobby and the career are the same.
I guess he does paddle.
Rare.
He likes to play paddle.
Sure.
I do remember that there was an interview, I think it was during the Australian GP, and Max and Daniel were being interviewed together because there was that photograph of, who was it? Fernando, Max, Lando, and Daniel playing paddle together earlier in the season. And Daniel was saying that he had called Max and asked him if he had an extra paddle that he could borrow. And Max said, yeah, I've got 10. So it's when he goes, we understand when he picks something that he likes, he goes all in. Respect.
Yeah, I get that.
But I said chose to wear a flat-billed hat. Mm-hmm. That just wasn't the best choice for him personally. And then this is more of a story, but there was a story once. So he loves cats. And there was a story once where his cat got locked into a room and he broke the door down to get the cat out of the room because the door was wedged and he couldn't get in. And so he literally, and there was a video of it, sledgehammer to the door, broke the door down to get the cat out. Now, again, it's just an interesting choice. An interesting choice because he was just fuck this door. Yeah. I don't care
in my
about
way.
it. I'm getting it down to get this cat out. Whereas maybe other people would have called a locksmith or whatever.
Taking the door, the handle.
The hinges off the door. He chose to just completely tear it down. So
passionate.
And we love that about Max because we love Max on this podcast.
Yeah. I certainly do.
Love him.
Yeah. And Lewis. Isn't that weird? Two things can be true at once. It's wild.
Okay. Anything else about? Okay.
No.
Next up, Pierre Gasly. Do you want me to start this one?
Yeah.
So I said he spends a lot of time on social media.
Yeah.
Again, borderline red flag.
Yeah.
Borderline red flag. But you could say he's spreading the love. Because I did also write the whole liked by Pierre Gasly era.
Oh, yeah.
We were all haha, how funny, how sweet. But also, are you on social media too much?
Yep.
It's just an interesting era. Now, I was a recipient, you could say, of the Pierre Gasly online era because he did respond to one of our DMs, which was very fun. But it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. And then I also said that he thought being teammates with his frenemy was a good idea.
Yeah.
Now, I know he didn't have, I guess he had the choice. He made the choice to move to Alpine.
Yeah.
But that's always questionable. It's interesting when someone's this guy that I hated as a kid.
Yeah.
We're going
to be my guy.
We're going to work well together.
But it's interesting because in hindsight, was he playing the long game to show everybody that he is going to come out on top?
Yeah.
Quirky. I just said, the social media thing too. I always wonder especially when he was before he was dating Kika, this one, and he was, the photo dumps were just wild, causing chaos. What kind of curation goes into it? Because he seems like someone who puts a lot of intentionality into the photo dump, whereas 100%. I think some people just kind of are these are the pieces of my life from the last week that I'd like to share.
Yep.
And that's interesting.
It is very interesting.
The time
the time that was taking. Now I thoroughly enjoyed, especially his old photo dumps.
The thirsty ones.
And we could also even go even deeper into his choice of emojis that he would post with.
Oh yeah.
You know, it was interesting.
Yes.
There
was a dog emoji.
Pierre Gasly 2022 on social media was an unhinged experience that
unhinged beige flag.
Yeah, exactly. It was fun, but also
just never knew what was going to happen.
You never knew what was going to happen next.
Yeah, it was pretty scary.
All right.
Good times.
Next one, Lando.
He thinks he's hilarious. Like laughs at himself harder than other people do, which I'm guilty of.
And it's also like you got to be your own biggest fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a huge fan of himself. I said he's a hobby enthusiast.
Yes.
Loves trying new hobbies.
Yes.
And then they go away just as quickly, which I also relate to.
Yes.
He's a hyperfixation kid. And I get it.
Yeah.
He goes all in and then he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
The
fact that Daniel's JPEG has lasted longer, much longer than Lando's JPEG.
But I often think back to when he got his DJ set and it looked like he was a kid on Christmas Day. That was it was verging on ick, but that was definitely a beige flag. And then it's less of a like personality quirk and more of just like an event that happened. But the bloody face on the boat and continuing his day was certainly quirky.
The cut nose.
Yeah. The mummy bandage.
He did win a race right after that.
That's true.
So it was good luck for him. Yeah, I mean, you could throw in, for Lando, for Max, for even Daniel, like their friendship with Martin Garrix is interesting. Now, Martin Garrix probably is a very nice guy. He's friends with all these F1 drivers, but like they are obsessed with Martin Garrix.
Yeah.
I wrote that he doesn't like fish or sushi. He seems to be a picky eater. Now, for me personally, that's probably more of a red flag. I don't love a picky eater, but for others, it's just an interesting thing about him. And then I've said that he cries when he's laughing.
Yeah.
And he seems to be
at himself
and at other people. I think about that Danny Rick, in the press conference thing, like
so funny.
He just couldn't.
Yeah.
And he was like a 12-year-old. I mean, and so was Daniel too.
Yeah, 100%.
But he was really like, it's like, have you ever heard that joke before, Lando?
Right.
And then you go back to the wank comment that he said. It's just, but he didn't really laugh at that. He was pretty serious, seemingly so.
He might have been worried.
Looking out for Lance's wrist.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like he cares. Anyway, to be honest about Lando, like a lot of things are more verging on the red flag than the beige flag.
He's certainly more of a cusper than others.
He's more of a cusper, and there's other things that are definitely more red flag adjacent, but we love it. I mean, he's fantastic.
He's Lando.
He's Lando.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Nico.
I almost had to clarify if it was Hulk, but Nico Rosberg isn't a driver at the moment.
Unfortunately.
His Ken hair era.
Literally wrote that down. Willingly bleached his hair.
Now look, so did Alex Albon.
Yeah, but come on.
The color, skin tones are different.
Yeah.
I also said some of his sets that he wears, his two-piece sets, quirky, some of them. Some not so much, and some quirky. And I think there was a specific set that he wore during his Ken hair era.
Yeah.
Felt really overwhelming for me.
Yes.
For me.
I also said longest streak without a podium.
Yeah.
It's not a red flag necessarily because...
That's good because these are supposed to be beige.
Yeah, because you've been... This means you've been in F1 for a long time. You got to be good enough to stay in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
But... tough. I don't know. It's probably more of a red flag, but I threw that in there just for fun. I couldn't really think of much else.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's all I wrote for him too.
Valtteri.
Let's see. So, okay, I do want to preface this with like, I love him and I love that he does this, but he spends a lot of time in Kansas.
Literally, Hannah, I wrote, has been to Kansas too many times.
Yeah, like so many times. And the mullet. That's what I said.
Literally wrote that. Like,
but like he went like, okay, Lawrence is one thing, I guess. It's like a bigger city, whatever. It's adjacent to Kansas City.
Yeah.
I know the bike race is here.
Yeah.
The Emporia trip really sent me. That was niche.
It's just like no one that's not from Kansas, like an American, spends that much time in. I mean, they would maybe come for something like once every 5 years, maybe a Chiefs game or a Kansas basketball game, or you're visiting some friend or something. But no European should be spending that much time in the state of Kansas. And I say that lovingly as a resident.
Yeah. And I also want to say I love that he comes and visits here. I think it makes me feel really cool. And like, I think it's fun that like we've been to the same restaurants and coffee shops and stuff.
Yeah.
But what are you doing?
Yeah. Interesting. And then I also wrote, can pull off a mustache and a mullet at the same time.
Yeah.
That is very quirky. That's like almost the epitome of quirkiness. I mean, for Valtteri is the epitome of quirky. He's just a quirky guy.
Yeah.
In the best way.
Yeah. I don't know what made me think about this, but I had this idea that another fun episode to do would be to decide which car, like if they weren't rich, like, and they were just normal people, what car each one would drive.
Okay.
And Valtteri is driving a like Subaru hatchback with lots of bumper stickers. That's just who I feel like he is.
I mean, he kind of reminds you of someone that would live in Colorado.
Yeah. Or, I mean,
shop at Whole Foods.
Yeah. He's got energy of Lawrence energy
hippie,
vibes. Yeah.
Granola kind of vibe.
Anyway, Kansas.
Yeah,
It's wild.
It's a wild thing. Will he be back this year, or back again? So. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, this one's very tightly. Carlos Sainz.
So for Carlos, I just said his dopey blank stare. Because sometimes I'm just like, are you okay? Are you thinking? Are you like, do you lose all ability to think? And not like, I like Carlos a lot.
Oh,
he's a very handsome boy. I know you're fatigued, and that's fine. But yeah, it's just the dead behind the eyes.
I know. Well, that's why he has such a hard time sometimes in the photographs.
Right. Because
he just looks very, eyes are like kind of gone. His brain has left his body.
Yeah.
So I wrote that he won't let a catchphrase go. The tell me we have it.
Oh yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Again, that was good for poll. Should not be used. But I'm making this sound like it's a red flag. And to me, it kind of is. But it's just a quirky thing about him that he's like, this is a thing that I said one time, and now I'm going to use it for everything. Has a theme song, Smooth Operator.
But did he pick that?
I think he did. Or I don't know. He at least has really leaned in.
Well,
He's
sure.
really leaned in.
Yeah. And so have we as a fan base.
And so have we.
Because I didn't actually know the origin of that. Did he call himself Smooth Operator, or was he singing that song and then
I think he loved the song and it really caught on.
Okay.
So again, it's just a
beige.
quirky thing. It's very
beige.
It's very beige. It kind of ties in. These are very similar to me with the Daniel Texas thing. It's like you either are in or you're out. It either it makes you smile and you're like, that's very sweet, or you're sort of done.
Yeah.
And then I also said he takes a really long time to make a decision.
Yes.
Again, not always a bad thing.
Nope.
Sometimes it's good to take your time to make a decision, but sometimes people are waiting.
Sometimes it's not just about you.
And others would like to get on with their lives. But anyway, okay. But Carlos, again,
sure.
All of this is said with love. Yuki.
Nice. Obsessed with food and obsessed with Pierre.
So I wrote, yes, I said, may love Pierre Gasly too much. I actually, the scene of him and Pierre, the very infamous scene where Yuki asks Pierre, are you going to miss me? Pierre says, for 2-3 minutes. I'll take that. It resurfaced on Twitter and I saw it the other day. And I really thought, I was like, that scene alone is why Drive to Survive should always and forever exist, and why it is not a scripted show, because no one could write that.
No one, truly.
No one could write that. I mean, the whole thing, but especially the pause.
Yeah.
The
pause and the repeat.
The pause and the repeat is like
cinematic.
It's cinematic.
Yeah.
You cannot. And then it's close up on his face. I'll take that.
Yeah.
It's just too good. I also wrote thinks Jason Statham is the pinnacle of acting.
Yeah. I still can't believe I cried when you told me the news.
It's very Beige. Like,
yeah,
you know, we all have our favorite actors. Some of them are not the best actors, but his love of Jason Statham is very, very, very strong. And I would just love to see, I would be curious if he could watch another actor's films and maybe.
He's just like so dedicated, you know, because he's one that like, he's unlike Lando in the sense that when he loves something, he goes all in and then he stays there.
He's loyal. I wonder if that's in his like astrology chart. We should look into that.
What's his sign? Do we know?
He's a Taurus.
Okay.
The bull.
Yes.
Which is why he's with, you know, Red Bull.
Oh.
So yeah, that's interesting. And then he doesn't like cheese. Which I also know that's a thing. Like I think I've actually seen this or read about this, that Japanese people specifically do not, I guess like dairy is not a very big part of their diet.
Okay.
And so I don't think they grow up eating cheese. I don't think it's like a big staple in their
Is that why they're
diet.
also healthy?
Yes.
Okay. Good for them.
And so I think what part of me has to imagine it's one of those things where he didn't have it for so long that he never got the taste for it. But I think like one of his least favorite foods is goat cheese, and I love goat cheese. So it's a little bit beige.
Yeah.
It's a little bit beige, but
it would just make dining out together a little difficult.
Yeah, but he loves steak
but more
and
goat
meat
cheese for you.
and
I thought you said me.
Yeah, maybe. But obviously, again, Yuki is one of a kind.
Yeah.
Okay. Checo. Janko.
Has said his modeling career.
That's another example of why Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
Is the scene, I can't remember what season it was, maybe 4 or 5, where Checo is modeling AlphaTauri. And I mean,
it was good. Oh, no.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious scene. Not really because of Checo, more because of the photographer. And I guess Checo's response to the said photographer, but iconic. I wrote confused 24/7.
Yep.
I don't think it's a bad or a good thing. He always seems to be, and then I also wrote down, doesn't seem to understand basic pop culture references.
Yeah.
Again, it could be a green or a red flag, because you could say if someone's like me, too obsessed with pop culture, it's kind of like, why are you filling your head with all this nonsense?
Yeah.
But then on the other side, it's like, how do you not know these things?
Yeah, like, don't you look at the news?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit questionable. And then I also just kind of think that whole exchange in Vegas with the announcer, the UFC announcer man, and the standing, and just that whole thing was a beige flag.
Yeah, and you know, it's like he's confused frequently. It's like, you weren't listening when they told you what you were supposed to be doing.
Or
probably.
was he really told? I
maybe not. You're right.
I have to wonder, because it didn't seem like many people really knew what was going on, but he especially didn't seem to pick up on the
it's also kind of like follow the leader. Like, he wasn't the first person to go, was he?
He was not the first person. Well, and then you had that whole debacle with like the cars,
the oil leak,
the oils, and then Lewis is getting in Checo's car, and it's just a lot of. I mean, I understand it was a chaotic experience, and it was insane, but that was. Yeah. Something.
Yeah. I also heard, and you know, this isn't like unusual, but I've heard that I think he said once that he has practiced his posing before for when he's on the podium.
Oh, really? Like posing as in
like
the cheers he does. Got it.
Just for like. Yeah. And look, I can also understand that it's like, you know, getting into the mindset of a winner and, you know,
visualization.
Yeah. See it, believe it, or whatever, achieve it.
Right.
I don't know what the poster says, but I just thought that was quirky.
That very much so is. I bet you he is not the only one.
No, I know he isn't.
Yeah, there's no way.
The only one that has said it in his own words.
And that's another beige flag, which is that no one else would admit it.
Correct.
But he's willing to, and that's a good and bad thing.
Yeah.
To be, you know, honest. Okay. Oscar.
Oh, I just said his use of Twitter.
Yeah.
Because it is funny, but also like he's a pot stirrer.
He is a pot stirrer.
Yeah.
I did write, doesn't seem like his heart rate goes above 100 beats per minute.
Totally.
Which again is good and bad.
Yeah.
He is super, super calm, but sometimes sometimes, and I kind of relate to, I mean, my heart rate, I do get stressed, but I think sometimes you kind of want to see him
get angry,
show some emotion.
Yeah.
And he doesn't seem to really ever show much emotion.
Yeah. He's like between a 3 and a 7 all the time.
Right. Which is good in some ways because he doesn't fly off the handle, but then also
it's like, are you in there? Or do you
knock,
feel?
knock, knock.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love Oscar. Love.
Totally.
But, and then I also said, doesn't seem to have loyalty to his Australian passport. Is very willing to accept, you know,
be adopted by whomever.
Yeah. Adoption and being, you know, diving into his 1/16 Chinese roots or his 3 whatever Italian and is this, that, the other. And it's like, just be proud to be Australian and just enjoy the fact that you have a home race in Australia.
Yeah, I think he's proud. I think he just likes a Twitter bit.
It could be a beige flag.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I hear you.
Anything else about Oscar?
No.
Okay. We're in the home stretch now.
Okay.
Lewis.
Okay. Don't come for me.
Said with love.
He's a vegan.
I mean, that is a good beige flag.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good beige flag.
It goes either way.
It goes either way.
The reason I find it to be a beige flag specifically.
Going out to eat.
Well, yeah, but also often people who make specific dietary decisions really like to inform others about their dietary decisions.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's an important part of your daily life. I'm not, it's not something I could do. I respect and love all of our vegan friends.
Yes.
But it's just, And then I said his music career.
Right. Well, and I also think with the vegan thing, it probably is something where, he is had to be in situations where he maybe has to be proactive about telling people he is vegan so that
totally
things can be made, and he doesn't have to be in a situation where he is being rude because he's not eating whatever everyone else is eating because there's stuff in it, blah, 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 blah. But yes, I feel like that's a classic beige flag for people, which is vegans. I said he runs Roscoe's Instagram account and he has a dog Instagram account. And I just think that's sort of a beige flag. Mm-hmm. It's cute.
I don't think I knew he ran it.
Allegedly, apparently, according to people.
Magazine or other human beings?
That's the understood belief. And then he may or may not be a conspiracy theorist, according to George. Now, I don't think he is a conspiracy theorist in like a dark, twisted way, like maybe Aaron Rodgers is or other people where it's like, ooh, this is sort of like not fun conspiracy theorist. This is like this could be like detrimental to humankind conspiracy theorist, a Danica Patrick, if you will, like she's very conspiratorial. But I think he might be the fun kind of conspiracy theorist, like aliens or, I don't know, other fun ones, where it's not super, where people, cause I think
it's not dangerous.
It's not dangerous, or it's not like people are like, I mean, this is a really, well, one is, did we actually land on the moon?
Yeah.
Now, when it becomes sort of we're not believing facts and history, that's a little bit, that could be dicey.
Mm-hmm. Or like flat Earth.
Flat Earthers. I mean, there's people that don't believe that the Holocaust happened. That's obviously like insanity and dangerous. So hopefully he's not that level of conspiracy theorist.
I have a very hard time seeing him being that way.
But I think any sort of conspiracy theorist is
Beige.
Quirky.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Certainly quirky.
Certainly very quirky. And also, I think you could also say his love of skydiving, extreme sports, things that are not, I mean, obviously we know he's an F1 driver, so all of them.
Yeah, but it's interesting, like, because when you said the beige flag about Lance, like the mountain biking thing, it's interesting that as an F1 driver, he has picked to do things that are just like risk. He's just he's
very risky.
Yeah, he just like loves adrenaline.
Exactly.
And I think I just wanted to reiterate his music career.
Oh yes, his music career. Pipe. I mean, I kind of say bring it back.
Yeah, I'm not.
And
it felt short-lived. But
when him and Charlotte Claire are teammates, I really would love a collab with maybe a Fred rap verse.
Wow, that is something I did not know I needed.
Wouldn't we want that? I think
of course we would want that.
Want that? Obviously, Charlotte Claire composes.
Yeah, music video.
I mean, would break the internet.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Come on, Ferrari.
Someone
there listens to us.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. Esteban.
Spider-Man.
Hannah wrote the same thing.
Yeah. Loves.
And we love Spider-Man too.
Of course.
We really do.
I have the shirt of
really do.
the 3 of them, I think, that you gave me. Is it all 3 of them or just
Oh,
one?
yeah.
And then I have some Spider-Man socks that you gave me once.
I mean, we saw the first Spider-Man Homecoming. I think we saw it multiple times in theaters.
Yeah, we did. We saw it on opening night, too.
We saw all 3 of them, or all of them. Like, we love it. So we're not...
Yeah, we were
it's a beige flag of us as well.
Theater, for sure.
Yeah, we were going cray.
But it's a big deal too because it's like when they do Secret Santa, it's usually what his gift is.
Right. Daniel got him that
which is a really
sort
nice
of coffee book type thing or whatever it was.
Like all the comics, I think. Yeah, which is a really nice gift.
That was a nice gift. Exactly.
I wouldn't have cared for it.
But I think his helmet is also Spider-Man themed. It is interesting. It's just, it's definitely a
beige.
Quirk. Mm-hmm. And then I also wrote he loves the car, like
remote control cars.
Remote control cars. And so does Lewis too.
Yeah.
So it could be his beige flag. But Esteban seems to really enjoy that.
Yeah.
And I'm all for tapping into your inner child as an adult and doing things that you love to do as a kid. I do think it's weird that we just abandon certain things that we used to enjoy because all of a sudden we now say we're too old for them.
Like, lame.
Yeah, I think it's lame. But he loves it.
Yeah.
It's just interesting.
It is interesting.
Anything else about Esteban?
No. Spider-Man was the biggest one for me.
Charlotte Claire.
Pants. Peculiar, quirky taste in pants.
And really just fashion in general, but particularly the pants. And you could say the same. We didn't even say it about Mr. PG, but Pierre Gasly.
And I think it's so curious to me, and I hope that as he and Lewis become teammates, Lewis can give him some styling tips, because the beef that I have with Charles and his pants is that he's styling them with his Ferrari shirt.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Yes.
Your Ferrari shirt goes with jeans
yes.
and khakis and black pants.
Exactly.
You cannot wear whatever those denim monstrosities are with your red kind of baggy Ferrari polo.
You know, at least he marches to the beat of his own drum.
Yeah.
But it is definitely a quirk. It is definitely a quirk. I said that he is from Monaco, which is just like a quirky, interesting thing, and that he writes songs when he's sad. Mm-hmm. I literally had to cough at the same time, Hannah.
Excuse us. I choked on my own saliva. But I would also say doesn't he have a history of dating girls within the same friend group?
Yes.
That's
that's borderline on red flag.
Yeah, I'm going with pink flag. It's like it's when beige and red mix.
Yeah. It's
curious. It's quirky.
It's very quirky.
But again, the world is his oyster, but his home is small.
Right, I suppose. But I mean,
I know.
Whatever.
You're right.
He seems happy
red.
now. It's red. It's
red.
very red.
I would like to take it back. It's red. Yeah.
Said with love. They all have red flags.
Of course they do.
Every single one of them.
That's why we're not doing an episode about that.
George.
His phrases.
I wrote the same thing. His general sayings.
Yeah.
It is the epitome of quirkiness.
Yeah.
How many times have we said that word on this episode? Probably
a lot,
like 25.
We're re-emphasizing what a
But
beige
I
flag
mean,
is.
that's how we roll. Oh, sugar. Yabba dabba doo. What else? He said something else. He had some other weird.
Yeah. Don't remember.
I mean,
but there's crikey, I think.
Crikey.
Yeah.
It's just, is it sweat or is it raining? It's just
one of the best moments.
All of the thing. And then his just general sort of
his meme ability.
Yeah. His meme ability is very, very beige. And it's amazing. It's one of my favorite things about him, but it's also just interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
It's very, very curious. The T-pose.
Yes.
And the leaning into the T-pose.
Yeah, I miss it so much.
It's just, we need people like George Russell.
Yeah.
Always. And
absolutely.
Thank
it's
God.
So important to a community and a culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, where would we even be? And this is why I even say, because people, give us shit for maybe not liking Checo, but I feel like Checo also fits he checks
a box
that we need for like content purposes and for humor and to keep everything going. Because if it was just a sport filled with, I don't know who's like
Max.
the very or I mean, I guess anyone. It's just sort of there's nothing there. But when you have these different pockets of people with their distinct personalities, elevates the whole experience.
Right. And that's why this whole thing works. I mean, it's why boy bands work. It's like
Yes.
they check the box. You know,
Yes.
they all check different
Even
boxes.
if we're laughing at them,
Yeah.
it's all with love.
Love.
And it's all, thank goodness we're laughing.
Correct.
Because we could be crying about somebody else.
Yeah.
But we have to have the laughs.
Right.
And then I also wrote that he thinks he's in like a period piece, or he seems, he always sort of acts,
He's very posh.
yes.
Yeah, he's like ready to go to tea at any moment.
Yes. He was just at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And just,
great. They look great.
he looks amazing, but he just looks like he came straight from Downton Abbey.
Yeah. You know who else looked great at Wimbledon? Pierre. Loved his suit.
Yeah.
He looked so cute.
It was very, also kind of Downton Abbey vibes. It looked like he was sort of,
Sherlock Holmes.
kind of, but
Yeah.
like, or yeah,
but in a hot way.
he's going to go solve a mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was tweed.
It was tweed.
It was
Exactly.
giving tweed.
Anything else about George?
No, I just love him.
Just thank God for George.
And I remember, like, I also just love the evolution
Yes.
of, like, for us and many other people. Like, George used to give me such an ick, and then I really started coming around. Macy did the same thing.
Yep.
She loves George now.
Yeah.
I feel like your dad was the same.
Yep.
I don't know. He's
Yep.
just, I love when people can grow on you like that, and you
Yes.
just, like, you choose to love them
in spite of the
in spite of
ick.
their
almost
beige flag.
the ick comes back around to the point where you, and it's not that I would not say that I am a fan of George on the track. I don't root for George. I don't care where he finishes or if he finishes. It doesn't have any effect on my day.
Yeah.
But I am
He's
always
important.
so happy to have him around, and it just always makes me laugh and smile.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Love him.
Yeah. Okay. 2 left.
Okay.
Kevin Magnuson.
I was having
Did
a
you struggle?
hard time. So 2 were, one is he kind of looks like a Viking, and I don't really know what to do with that. And so we could just leave that one there.
Okay.
And then that he's quite possibly ending his career in Formula One this year by being like a chaos agent.
Okay, so I wrote willing to get a race ban for a teammate. That's a beige flag.
Yeah.
You know, do you really need to be so self-sacrificing for a guy that, and I also wrote down,
You hate it.
did say suck my balls, mate, once on live television. That is a beige flag. I'm so sorry. And like, it's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. And now they're just all
And now
chummy.
they're chummy, but like,
Which is like such male behavior.
and it's just I mean, it's not just suck my balls. It's suck my balls,
Mate.
mate. And it's just, oh, and obviously, I mean, like the fuck smashing of the door.
Right.
I think that could be a beige flag.
Sure.
Because you do not fuck smash Gunter's door.
No.
But I don't know. It's hard to find fault with Kevin because he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's very honest and open about the fact that he drives like a maniac. You know, he doesn't try to disguise it like everything's fine.
Yeah,
you know?
as if he could, but
He's like, yeah, it was, you know, whatever.
Whoops.
And that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I agree. Okay, our final guy, our American hero, Logan Sargent. What did you have?
That he's American?
I wrote that he's from Florida.
Okay.
That's very beige flag energy for anyone who's not American. Yeah. You guys know it. I mean, Florida has such a reputation.
It really does.
Such a reputation.
Even the Floridians know.
Yeah. And it's very much like a Texas thing too.
Yeah.
Right. It's like these states that have just these very distinct personalities. So that's a very big beige flag.
Yeah.
There's not a lot else. I don't.
He's kind of beige.
You mean
just
his
like
coloring?
No.
Oh.
Like personality.
Oh,
like he's just very like
blah.
Neutral.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I was going to say is I don't feel like I've really gotten to know Logan very well.
Yeah.
I do think there's times where I'll see clips of him and Alex on their podcast or other things where I find them funny and enjoyable. I enjoy his personality fine.
Yeah.
Maybe that is part of the beige flag, but I don't feel like he's not really shown us very much. And I feel like that's almost to his detriment because I feel like a lot of people talk about, you know, the American audience and like, but we've said this 1,000 times. Like, I don't know if you polled American F1 fans, I don't think he's their favorite Formula One, or maybe even like, would he even be top 5? I don't know.
Depends on who you're polling.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying if we polled every single F1 fan, American F1 fan, I don't believe so.
No.
So
I mean, he's in someone's for sure. I just don't know what the volume of that
yeah.
is.
So anyway, I just it's hard to I don't feel like I've gotten to know a lot about like his personality quirks, which then comes down into like I think he likes to fish, which goes into the Florida thing, but it's very much like I mean to me
like
and I think to you as well. I don't know about that, but like if you see a man's profile picture and it's of him holding up a fish, like what are you thinking to yourself?
Bye.
It's not good. And this is a personal preference.
Yes. Because here's I think where I have a hard time with it, where it's just like, if this is your like whole life, like if this is your passion, we're probably not gonna vibe together, or you know, because I'm thinking about it like dating apps, especially
right
around these parts. It's like
right,
dead deer, fish. You know, it's like okay, well, if there's one and it's like this thing that you did, and we, you know, a lot of people, guys especially, and like myself, I don't have a lot of pictures alone. So sometimes the solitary fish photo is like and the only photo alone.
The act of going fishing is not necessarily a red flag. I don't think it's a red flag. I mean, fishing, I understand it's a very therapeutic experience.
Sure.
It's
but
calming.
If it's your whole thing,
and that goes for anything in life. When you make something your entire personality, which I guess I've done like 7 times in my life.
It's fair.
But when you do that, it's just, I think, and certainly, I mean, if someone were to do our beige flags, like it would be like a laundry list, you know? But I think it's just a questionable thing. I mean, certainly our friends, when they hang out with us, they leave and they think these women are deranged and need psychological help.
They don't even leave and think that. I can see it in their eyes when we're sitting at dinner. It's actively happening. Like there was that dinner forever ago with Liz and Taylor, and you and I were just like, and they were just looking at us like we were in the zoo. So I get it.
Yeah. So listen, we are coming from a place of no judgment, because we ourselves, to be self-aware, we
beige
are full of just quirks, as I'm sure many of you all are as well. And I think the more beige flags, the better, because it means that you have an interesting personality.
Yeah.
That some are going to love and some are going to hate. And that's just life.
Amen.
That's just life. So
truer words.
Anyway, those are F1 drivers beige flags. We should have done, I didn't prepare for it, but we should have also done the team principles, because we could have really.
I have one.
Oh, please share.
Toto's is his scooter riding.
I think it's beige.
I think it's beige. It's just, it can, I think, sometimes borderline on an ick.
Mm-hmm. Oh, not for me.
Why are you doing that? I don't know.
I think it's because he doesn't want to get stopped in the paddock. He doesn't want people to, you know, I think that's why Lewis does it all.
Okay, let's not be logical about it. I just want it to be.
I mean, yeah. And for some of these principles, it's just straight up red.
Yeah. So we can't get into it. Otmar. I know he's not
Bonjour.
Acting principal. Yeah. And also his app.
For sure.
Well, that's like verging on green flag, but
Gunter Steiner also full of beige flags.
Yeah.
I mean,
or maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe not. Yeah. Fred. I mean, Fred's got his. What did he keep wanting to say? What was he like? I'm gonna end everything saying something. You remember when he was writing like that speech?
Oh yeah. Forza Ferrari. Yeah.
He's like, I'm just gonna say that if I get. He's probably full of them too. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, that could be saved for a different day.
Yeah, a rainy season.
All right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, let us know.
That's fine. I feel lighter. That was nice.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It's always good to go through each one, and you kind of, again, this is not like a good or bad thing, but you kind of get reminded of just like things about them, their personality, and sort of,
I just miss talking about them and their like
as individuals.
Beings.
Yeah, not their driving ability.
Yeah, because sometimes I just like don't care.
We didn't even include any sort of beige flags that happen on the actual track,
which is fine because I didn't want to talk about the tracks.
Totally fine. But yeah, leave your guys' as beige flags for any of the drivers. Let us know what you guys come up with. Mm-hmm. We've got the Hungary GP next weekend.
Certainly do.
Back at it. The next 2 weeks are going to be like, it's going to be intense because we're going to get some answers, I do believe. And
here's hoping
we'll figure some things out. I think we might be in for a bit of a crazy time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
As always, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe, leave a comment, share with a friend.
Yeah, rate us on Spotify, Apple Pod. You know, we just all the things that help us out. And we will see you guys next time
On
Shantae.